Hello, my name is Martin. Welcome to my language channel. Today we're going to talk about the past tenses of English verbs. Most of our daily conversation and writing are conducted in the indicative mood. This video covers the following past tenses in the indicative mood: past simple, past emphatic, past progressive, past perfect, and past perfect progressive. First, let's look at the past simple. This tense describes an action that was completed in the past. It is formed by adding ed to the root of regular verbs. Irregular verbs have unique forms. The past simple is the same for all three persons, singular and plural. Here is the conjugation of the regular verb to play in the past tense. I played, you played, he, she, it played, we played, you played, they played. And here is the conjugation of the irregular verb to sing in the past simple. I sang, you sang, he, she, it sang, we sang, you sang, they sang. Here are some examples of past simple verbs used in sentences. Both regular and irregular verbs are shown here. We walked to the church. The doors opened before the performance. The choir sang Mozart's Requiem. The conductor took several bows. The audience gave a standing ovation. Now we come to the past emphatic. This tense consists of the past tense of the verb to do, followed by the root form of a verb. Since the simple past of the verb to do, did, is the same for all persons, the past emphatic is also the same for all persons. It is used to show emphasis, to ask questions, and to make negative statements. Now let's look at some examples of the past emphatic in sentences. Dr. Jones did review the chart. He did write the prescription. The doctor did prescribe the correct dosage. His assistant did schedule the next appointment. To the right is the conjugation of the verb to write in the emphatic tense. I did write, you did write, he, she, it did write, we did write, you did write, they did write. Now let's look at how emphatic tenses are used for questions. In English, the verb goes before the subject to ask a question. Statement, this is the cathedral in Florence. Question, is this the cathedral in Florence? Statement, I was in Florence 10 years ago. Question, was I in Florence 10 years ago? But to be is the only verb that allows a simple tense verb to be placed before the subject to ask a question. All other verbs require the verb to do or another auxiliary verb. When the emphatic tenses are used to pose questions, emphasis is not necessarily implied. The past emphatic is used to pose questions without necessarily inferring any emphasis. Let's compare some statements in the past simple with questions using the past emphatic. Statement, Linda learned a new song every week. Question, did Linda learn a new song every week? Statement, she held the microphone. Question, did she hold the microphone? Statement, she closed her eyes. Question, did she close her eyes? Special note for non-native speakers of English. In combination with the past tense of the auxiliary verb to do, did, a common mistake among some non-native speakers is to use the past simple form of the verb instead of the root form. Compare the following. This is incorrect. Did Joel took the test? Correct would be, did Joel take the test? Or you could say, yes, Joel did take the test, or yes, Joel took the test. Incorrect, did Joel knew all the answers? Correct, did Joel know all the answers? Or you could say, yes, he did know all the answers, or yes, he knew all the answers. Now let's look at past emphatic negative statements. As with questions in the past tense, the past emphatic is also used to make negative statements. Compare the following positive and negative statements in the past tense. First example, positive statement, Patty learned a new song every week. Negative statement, Patty did not learn a new song every week. Positive statement, she held the microphone. Negative statement, she did not hold the microphone. Positive statement, she closed her eyes. Negative statement, she did not close her eyes. Now let's talk about emphatic tenses for negative questions. A question can also be expressed in negative terms, except for the simplest constructions involving the verb to be, for example, was I not. Emphatic tenses are used with contractions. Compare the following examples. Positive statement, Babette learned a new song every week. Negative question, didn't Babette learn a new song every week? Positive statement, she held the microphone. Negative statement, didn't she hold the microphone? Positive statement, Babette closed her eyes. Negative question, didn't Babette close her eyes? In these examples, the words did not are contracted into didn't. For more information about contractions of verbs with the word not, please check out my video on present tense verbs. Now we're going to talk about the past progressive tense. This tense describes continuous or ongoing actions that were completed in the past. It is formed by combining the past simple form of the verb to be, was or were, with the present participle. Let's compare these two statements. First statement, Joy read the newspaper every Sunday. This is the past simple tense. Next statement, she was reading the financial news all morning. This is the past progressive tense. Here is a conjugation of the verb to read in the past progressive. I was reading, you were reading, he, she, it was reading, we were reading, you were reading, they were reading. The next tense we're going to talk about is the past perfect. This tense describes an action that occurred in the past and was complete or had consequences in the past. It often describes an action that had already occurred when another action took place. It is formed by combining the past simple form of to have, had, with the past participle. Here are some examples of the past perfect. I had already ordered when Jordan arrived. The waiter had taken my order as soon as I sat down. Jordan had hoped to be there earlier. And for our students, here is the conjugation of the irregular verb to eat in the past perfect. I had eaten, you had eaten, he, she, it had eaten, we had eaten, you had eaten, they had eaten. Now let's look at the past perfect progressive tense. This tense is like the past perfect, but describes a completed action that had been ongoing, often at the time that another action took place. It is formed by combining the past perfect form of to be, had been, with the present participle. Here are some examples of the past perfect progressive. I had already been waiting when Jordan arrived. The waiter had been watching for him. Jordan had been trying to get away sooner. And the conjugation of the verb to eat in the past perfect progressive, I had been eating, you had been eating, he, she, it had been eating, we had been eating, you had been eating, they had been eating. Now let's review what we have learned about past tense verbs. The past tenses in the indicative mood are the past simple tense. This describes an action that was completed in the past. The past emphatic tense. This consists of the past tense of the verb to do followed by the root form of a verb. It is used to show emphasis, to ask questions, and to make negative statements. The past progressive tense. This describes continuous or ongoing actions that were completed in the past. The past perfect tense, this describes an action that occurred in the past and was complete or had consequences in the past. And the past perfect progressive tense, this describes a completed action that had been ongoing, often at the time that another action took place. So that wraps it up for today's video on the past tenses of English verbs. If you have found this information helpful, be sure to like this video and click on the subscribe button for more videos like this one. Thank you so much for watching.